Hey guys, it's Scott from Ordinary Marathoner. I've been trying to cut this video, doing a little screen capture of my training spreadsheet here. I kind of use this to schedule and track and maintain all my workouts while I'm in training. And I've been trying to cut this video a few times, I guess. She's actually making fun of me because I've been doing it so many times. So we're going to try to kick this one out pretty quickly. And I'm just going to, we talked about this on the podcast. This is just the tool that I use, like I said, when I'm training, just to keep track of the data that I like to see. It's customized. I made it all myself. It's easy that way for me. I know you guys probably use different tools out there. There's tons of tools. I know when I had my coach that I used something called, I can't remember what it was called, Training Peaks. I used Training Peaks, and that seemed to work okay. And some of you guys probably just use like Strava or Garmin Connect, things like that. If you use anything different, and you want to just write it in the comment section, let us all know. I'm interested to look into all these kinds of things. But for me, I've been doing this for 4 or 5 years, and I always tend to return back to this homemade spreadsheet kind of thing that I just make I made it myself. I can customize it any way I see fit, and I just like it that way. It seems to work for me when I'm in a good mode. I'm able to keep track of it on a day-to-day basis, and it's just useful. So let me get into this, and I'll show you what it's about. And at the end of the video, if you're interested in getting a copy for yourself, I don't know if you would be or not, but if you want one, by all means, I'll put my email address in the description. You could shoot me an email. I'd be happy to send this thing to you, and then you could mock it up and change it however you guys see fit. So I just want to bring your attention down here. There's 4 tabs: calendar, details, weight, and goals. We'll go tab by tab. This, obviously, you look at this thing, you can see it's a calendar. Now, I lay my weeks out Monday through Sunday instead of the typical Sunday to Saturday. And really, the reason I do that is because I see the week as 2 blocks, which is Monday to Friday, which is typically a work week for me, and then Saturday and Sunday, which I usually just do one longer workout each day. It's just the way it works out. And what I like to do is I like to see the weekend together so that my eye doesn't go from up here to down here. It's just sort of an annoying thing if it was a regular Sunday to Saturday calendar. So, since it's customizable, I make it easier for me by doing that. Now, obviously, the first thing I see here when I look at this thing is the color coding. So we'll go through that quickly. The gray are days that have come and gone. Those are days in the past. It's actually, I should have updated this for yesterday, but I didn't. Today's September 3rd. It's Labor Day. The white days are days that have yet to come. And then the black days here, those are actually just days I wanted to forget, and I just colored them in black because I just didn't want to see them. I had set myself some pretty good goals for those days, and it turned out to be a really busy weekend. We had a baby shower, we had some people over and family, and the workouts just got away from me, and I didn't do them, and I just felt like those were some days I just wanted to forget. My weight got a little out of control over that weekend, and so I just colored them black. And it's no big deal. Like, you don't have to do that. If you had the sheet, you can do whatever you want. The other color I do have in here is red, and it's down here. So basically, when I'm scheduling my workouts in advance, these days are days I have things planned. So I'm actually going to dinner with Stephanie here, and then I have a work outing on that day. So these blocks are just, they're times that I'm not going to be able to work out, so I might as well, I color them in red so that when I'm scheduling my workouts for those days, I don't, by accident schedule an important workout for a time that I'm not going to be around or not going to be available to do it. The way I separate, I weigh myself every single day, and I do this especially now if I'm in a good training mode. I will weigh myself every single day, and I like to look at it that way. I like to analyze what it tells me and what the data is saying to me. A lot of people support sort of weighing yourself once a week, and that's good if that's what you like to do. The reason I don't is because when I do it on a day-to-day basis, I do see some anomalies, and I see some days that are a little high, and maybe that could be any reason. Maybe you had a salty meal and you're retaining water. Maybe you ate a late-night snack, and your GI tract isn't as isn't as smooth as you would like it. Let's just put it that way. Maybe your sleep patterns is another thing that can affect it, and so the way I see it is, if I have this, for example, this 237 here, that was sort of an anomaly, a little bit high. And then 3 days later, I was 232.8. It's a little bit low. So what I do is I take the average for the week, and right here you could see that right here you could see the formula there, average. Just take the average for the week, and I kind of consider that to be my weight. And then this cell here, this keeps track of plus or minus the average weight from the week before. So as you can see here, when I started doing this, the first week I lost 1.67, second week I gained 1.63, third week I lost 2.06 and down 0.09, and then last week I was plus 1.6. So I really haven't found a groove here. I'd like to see sort of a more consistent down, 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 down from week to week. And really, it's just, what this is telling me is it's kind of my diet. But we're going to get on that in the next month anyway. So it says workout 1, workout 2, workout 3 here. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that I do work out 3 times a week. Some days I will, especially sort of in the heart of Ironman training. But with these are just times of the day for me. So this workout 1 is in the morning before work. Workout 2 is lunchtime. Workout 3 is after work. And it really only applies for me from Monday through Friday. So you can see here workout 1 is completely empty. And really, I've had trouble waking up before work and getting workouts done. Part of that is because sometimes I do my nighttime workouts really late. So I'd like to keep it here because I like to see that it's there. And I have other days, like for example, these days that are red, I might schedule, especially this day that, workout 2, workout 3 is red. I'm not going to be able to do anything, but I have a 5-mile run that day. So I might try to get up in the morning and do that run. We'll see. We'll see when it comes time to schedule those things. And, things change. Nothing's written in stone here. So I could move these things around and things happen. So it's just the way I monitor it. So let's see. Calories out. So this cell is, basically if I'm doing a cardio workout that I can monitor calories and count calories, be it a run, the elliptical, a bike ride that I'm doing on the trainer, or even the Garmin will tell you how many calories you burn. Anything that I can sort of calculate calories, I like to keep that number on a day-to-day basis. And what that does for me is it gives me sort of a weekly number, and I can kind of tell how hard I worked that week. So if you go up here, you can see this week I burned 6,700, then I burned 7,000, and this week I rocked it. 8,369. And these 2 bad days, they really crushed me, 5,500. And I judge it based on 1,000 calories a day on average, which is, that's a good week for me. That 8,000 was a great week. This 5,000 was a poor week. So it's some data that I can see. It's just a general marker of how much I've worked out and whether or not it's a good or bad week. And that's pretty much it for the schedule, the calendar tab here. Go into the details. It's exactly what you think it is. I break this up into each activity that I do. The run, if I do a run that day, I'll put in the miles, the time, what pace that equates to, and the calories that I burned. For the bike, I'll do the same thing. The only difference here is that my trainer will give me wattage, and I feel like that is a good data marker for me to keep track of. And it also gives me the RPM, and it didn't here because I didn't have it hooked up. But now that it's hooked up, I can get the RPM, and I just plug it in there. It's a good data point for me to see and visualize. Now the color coding here, because of my trainer, I use this thing called Rovi or Rovi. I'm not sure how they pronounce it, but it basically mocks a real life course. So it'll show you the map. It'll show you any hills. So if you're going uphill, it'll give you resistance as if you're riding uphill. And it'll kind of calculate your miles per hour and your RPM and your watts and all that stuff, and it'll kind of guess how far you've gone and how much time. I really like it. It's enjoyable. But anyway, so the color coding, the blue is if I do the Ironman Lake Placid course, which I never really finish. It's one loop is 56 miles, so you can see I just try to add a little bit more to the distance every week. And the green was this course. It was a Grand Fondo race in Florida that I found. It's a popular course. And the good thing about this is that, so the course is 32.53 miles. Now, once I finish the course, which I did here, in 1 hour, 55 minutes, 29 seconds, once you finish the course, then you can go back and you can race yourself. And it will show you a dot for where you are now on the course and a dot for where you were the time you ran it before. So you can kind of race yourself in your last performance and try to beat it. And that way you're always improving. You're always kind of pushing yourself. So anytime I do that course, I put it in green. And I actually, now that I've done it for a month, I'm probably going to just change it up only because I need a little variety. Riding the same course over and over and over it gets a little boring, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, here's swim. I've taken swim out of the workout until after my next race, which is Hartford Marathon. And elliptical, all I need here is time and calories burned. And then lifting. So here's the thing with lifting. I just put time. Now, if you wanted to come in here and you were hell-bent on knowing like how much you lift, how much, if you could put bench press, you could put squat, you could put deadlift, you could put whatever you do, and then monitor that. And the reason I don't is because I do more of a circuit training. Now, I used to train when I played football in college. I used to train. You have a day, chest day or something, and then you do 4 or 5 chest exercises in one day. And the thing with that was you would bench, and then you do your 10 reps of bench, and then you have to wait till your next set, and you rest for like 2 or 3 minutes until your next set. Now, I've removed that rest. I basically I jump from machine to machine, whatever's open. I try to do a continuous circuit, and then once I get through all the body parts, I'll do it again, and I'll do it again, and I won't rest in between. Now that does two things. Number one, I probably get more work done in 25 minutes of circuit training than I used to do in an hour of sort of that traditional weightlifting, what I used to do for football. I'm sure I burn more calories than I would if I was resting 2 to 3 minutes before each set. So I just find, for me, I just put the time in there. And also, like, if you're doing 2 exercises back to back and you don't normally do them back to back, so say I do shoulder press, and then someone's on my next leg machine, so I have to skip it, and then I wind up doing bench press right after. Well, I don't, that's going to take away from my performance. It's going to take away, because I just did shoulders, and now I'm doing chest. It's upper body with no rest. It's just going to take away from the amount of times I can lift the weight. So instead of just looking at it at a micromanaging level, when it comes to lifting, I just do just a total time, and that's what I've just put in there. And like I said, the great thing about this, you can do whatever you want in these sheets and just put in whatever data you need. Now, weight, obviously, you guys, if you listen to podcasts, weight is a big deal for me. I have trouble maintaining my weight, and so that's one of the things that I put in here is I like to monitor my weight, and I like to set goals for myself. Now, for particular purposes of this exercise in the sheet, I've set out a final date of July 28th of next year, which is Ironman Lake Placid Day. And I set 3 different goals. Goal A, that's a pretty aggressive weight loss goal, to get to 180 pounds. And what I've done here in the weeks in between is I've just sort of averaged it out so that it's a nice steady line. So I can see if I was to lose and stay on this line, eventually I'd be on track to get to 180 pounds. More realistic goal for me is probably 200, and that's where I did Ironman 2 years ago. And that's kind of like my minimum goal. That's the goal that I really, really want to reach. And then this is just an absolutely ridiculous goal, which is 165. And if you can see, I've labeled these. Weight goal A is aggressive. Weight goal B is kind of like realistic. And weight goal, the third one, is just ridiculous. And the reason I put that in there, guys, is just I wanted to see it. And the reason I want to see it is, look, I'm 5'9". I currently weigh 234, or around there, 232, something like that. And, I look at these competitive triathletes, and if you're 5'9" and you're a competitive triathlete, you're probably less than 165 pounds. So, now I am not, my body type does not really lend itself to getting down to that low of a weight. I'm broad-shouldered, have sort of a barrel chest. I don't know that I can necessarily ever get rid of that. I just know that, if I got to 180 pounds and I was feeling really good and I wanted to sort of really try to make a push to get competitive in this sport at one point, maybe if I still love it as much next year, 165 is probably where that's going to be more of a sweet spot for me, and I'm going to need to get there. But for now, I just wanted to see it. And all this stuff, it maps out to this chart here, which is more of the visual that I like to see. Now, the red line is my current weight, and here's my hiccup, those black days where I had a bad week. And so now I'm hovering here. I'm above my goal, so I really have to start pushing myself to get back down under these lines. Now, you see this red line going directly down, and basically what that is, once I surpass a week that I've weighed myself, I just have it. I throw in a formula where I lose a pound a week. So if I lose a pound a week for the rest of the time, this is what the red line will look like. And I think that's sort of a realistic goal for me if I'm really focused on it. It's just a matter of getting there. And what I'll do is every week, like you saw before, I'll take on the calendar, I'll grab the weight, the average weekly weight, 234.06, and I'll come to the weight tab, and I'll just throw it in there, 234.06. I'll just overwrite this cell, and it gives me the graph. Now, the last tab here is goals, and this is really just a scratch pad. There's nothing really crazy on here. Here's the 3 races that I'm scheduled for. There's even another one after that, but I don't even want to write it in yet. Hartford Marathon is October 13th. My A goal is 5 hours. That's looking like it's going to be a little aggressive right now. I've had some real trouble lately with my long runs. and that equates to a pace of 11 minutes and 26 seconds per mile. Phoenix Marathon is February. My goal there is 4 hours and 30 minutes, and that's, you know what, this is all, again, it's a scratch pad. It can all be changed. Everything can be refigured if need be, depending on the circumstances. I feel like a pace of 10:17 per mile. Now, I did 7-mile run the other day, and I did a 9:20 pace on average. So I think that in 6 months, with a lot of training, I should be able to do a full marathon at 10:17 if I'm doing 7 miles at 9:20. It's just, so I think that's realistic. It's just a matter of actually getting there once the time comes. And Ironman Lake Placid, I put 13 hours. That's very aggressive. Again, scratch pad, guys. It's not written in stone or anything like that. It's just something for now. It's something for me to look at and go, hey, if I work really hard, maybe 13 hours is doable. Here, I just put some notes for training periods. So from now until I do Hartford, this is kind of the goal for what I want to get done in any given week. If I have extra time, I fill in with the elliptical. I'll show you guys that, how I schedule a week of training for next week's video. This is more of a blended training, so it's like marathon / Ironman, and this is just will be Ironman focused. After Phoenix Marathon, I'm just going to focus on Ironman after that. And this here, over here, guys, this is just, you guys step on a treadmill, and the one thing that the treadmill always does, right, it asks you for miles per hour. Of course, as runners, you like to see pace. You like to see pace per mile. And so, if you go to the gym, so sometimes I'll go to the gym and I say to myself, all right, I'm running 3 miles. I want to make sure that I run right around a 9-minute pace for 3 miles. That's pretty much my normal pace for 3 miles these days. So I know that I got to get to around an average of 6.6 miles an hour to get to like a 9:05 pace. That's where I need to be. So I might start, because you need some warm-up. I might start like 6.1, 6.2, whatever, around here. And in my head, I'm always just trying to increase the speed as I get warmed up, as I go along, and then finish it out somewhere down here so that it all averages out to that 9:05. But if I don't have this sheet, I have nothing to refer to. These yellow spots just equate to up here. So if I'm doing a long run on a treadmill, which I do sometimes, I'll know that if I want to do 15 miles on a treadmill and I want to kind of aim for this 11:26 pace, goal pace, I need to do 5.3 in order to get that pace. And the same thing for this 10:17. If I'm looking to do, that 4.5 hour pace, I got to do a 10:17 mile, which is a 5.9 on the mile per hour. And that's it. Really, that's all the spreadsheet is. Like I said, if you want a copy of this, I'm happy to send it to you. I'll put my email in the description. And I'd love to see what you guys use. Just throw it in the comments section. And I hope to be doing more of these videos. Hopefully they won't all be just screen capture. Hopefully I'll have more videos of myself. I know you guys love to see my face. But we're gonna try to do one for next week. I'm gonna show you actually how I put the sheet to work during the week. And until then, always remember, when it comes to running, I'm no expert. I'm just ordinary.
Remember to like our video and subscribe to our channel.